The Miami FP3 was so dull that a lot of people didn't really get into the groove, and it was not exciting. There was nothing exciting about it. It was not challenging. It was not freaking. You know, we want to get into a race, we want to really feel the practices light up, except for the usual suspect, the Red Bulls showing their pace, showing their dominance, and the Ferrari keeping them close. But the highlight of the FP3 were the Alpines. The Alpines were able to get their setup right. What they could not do in Baku with the new upgrades, they were able to show that in Miami, and it showed that they could have a good pace if with what is coming, with what we are looking at, possibly they might have a good pace coming up. It's going to be something beautiful. So one thing is we watch out for the Alpine. Alpine did well, but like I said, that practice session was just too dull. You know, I said it yesterday that during the FP3 and the qualifying, we'll start knowing those that will be on the front row, and we'll see where they are. And it shows that the Mercedes are just nowhere on this circuit. Last year looks better for them, but this year they are nowhere on this circuit. During the FP3, they were struggling to get into the top 10. They were not in the top 10. They struggled to get to the top 15, and it was something else. They had showed they had tremendous pace. The upgrades they brought to Baku, they were able to make some tunings on it, and they got it right. The Aston Martin showed they are still there. They never left. But the most exciting part was the qualifying. Now listen, my name is Oshifes Oluwadamilare. I'm a mechanic. Welcome to Exxon F1, also known as Formula 1 Column Africa. Here we go. Now the qualifying, like I was saying, the qualifying was more exciting with the American driver, that's Logan Sargent, getting out in Q1. The two McLarens were out in Q1. Lance Stroll was out in Q1, and Yuki Tsunoda was out in Q1, but out of AlphaTauri. And it is crazy because the Mercedes struggled to get to Q2. They really struggled their heart out to get Q2. And I think we are seeing much of where their pain is coming from. And one of the things I think is that Mercedes looks too heavy and overweight. In Q3, we can see that 3 Mercedes-powered engines were out in Q1, which is a little bit painful to see that on a track that is so difficult to overtake, the Mercedes teams struggled. The McLaren were just nowhere. But in Q2, the Alpines showed tremendous pace. The Aston Martins thrived. The RCs were great. But the surprise was Lewis Hamilton out of Q2. He'll be starting 13th on the grid. Alfa Romeo getting into Q3 for the first time this season. Wow. Zhou Guanyu was able to give Valtteri Bottas a tow in the Q2 to get him into Q3, and that was beautiful for that team because they just wanted to get, as if they knew what was going to happen, they just wanted to get one of the cars into Q3, in which they were able to achieve. And still, the Williams showed tremendous pace. They strived, they tried, they did everything they could get themselves to Q3, but Alex Albon could not do that. He was out in P11, so he'll be starting P11. Now, where the drama came was the Q3. The wind came up and it was so gusty. Drivers were making a lot of mistakes. Hamilton could not get into the Q3 for the first time on US soil because they brought him out too late, and the wind, also his preparation lap was bad, so he could not get the tires into the right window for him to set a good lap, which compromised his lap. But the Q3 was just the hype for the race. That is one of the best qualifying, and I think what happened in the Q3 should happen more often so that we can see a mixed grid. Drivers that we don't expect being at the front row, and the drivers we majorly expect struggling to get to. You know, it's going to be beautiful. It's something like what happens in Formula E. But chill, this was what happened. On the first set, most of the teams came out on scrubbed, or we call it used, soft tires, so they were able to set laps. But unfortunately, Max Verstappen was unable to set a good lap. Charles Leclerc was unable to set a very good lap. On the first run, Max Verstappen aborted the lap because he made some few mistakes due to the wind. Charles Leclerc struggled to get his tire into the right window, but still couldn't get into it, so he could not set a time. Valtteri Bottas was just coming out, could not set a lap. Now, on the first run, if this goes up, because Sergio Perez set the fastest lap, Fernando Alonso second, Carlos Sainz third, Kevin Magnussen of the Haas coming fourth, and Pierre Gasly fifth, George Russell sixth, and Charles Leclerc was still struggling with his seventh because he could not set a very good lap. Now Esteban Ocon eighth. So we're looking at what will happen by the time they set a more faster lap. So we knew the lap is between Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc, and Max Verstappen. Now in the second quali run in Q3, Charles Leclerc spun off and brought out the red flag 1 minute 36 seconds to the end of the Grand Prix. So if those drivers were to get in pit to come out, they will not be able to meet the line. To set a lap there is 1 minute 26 seconds. So for them to go around, warm up their tires, 6 or thereabouts, so it will be difficult for them to set a fast lap. So the session was ended. The session ended with Sergio Perez getting his pole. That set up the grid for tomorrow, which is going to look interesting because Max Verstappen is going to come from the rear to challenge his teammate, because we know the challenge this season for the first 6 to 10 races will be between the two teammates. So now, will he be able to put up a challenge with Checo Perez? We know without even opening the DRS, he might just take the remaining 7 cars in his front in just 2 laps. Though the Miami track is difficult to overtake, but there are places in which he can overtake. He can take 1 or 2 cars on at a go. So it's going to be very interesting for the race tomorrow. Charles Leclerc is starting 7th. Will he be able to hold Max Verstappen for a long time? Will Max Verstappen be able to overtake his teammate Sergio Perez? And I wish Sergio Perez wins, so it can be like 1 point or so or thereabout, or 2 points or more between him and Max Verstappen, because I'm tipping Max Verstappen to come second if there are no accidents or issues between the two drivers or between any drivers that will take any of the Red Bulls out. But I think it's going to be a very interesting race tomorrow, and it's going to be a very beautiful race. Now, watch out for that race. But predictions: I think Sergio Perez wins the race without any incident. Max Verstappen comes second, and one of the Ferraris come third. The two Mercedes comes in points, but the major strategy to win the race tomorrow, or to get into points tomorrow, are tire strategies, the overcut or the undercut for the tires or for the teams, to give their team opportunity to get them into the right space. Now, if you look at it, most of the teams could not get the right data for the tires tomorrow, but we know that Red Bull knows how to manage their tires, and it's going to be a beautiful race if you can get those strategies to work and make the race very interesting. So watch out for the race tomorrow. We give you the best analysis and how it is going to work. Now, there's a part 2 of why the Red Bulls are so fast. You'll be seeing that this coming week, and I hope you enjoy it. So keep watching, subscribe, like, comment, share, and let's see what we can do with this community and how well we can build this community. We love you. Chill.